Welcome to Sports Geek Q&A. Here's your host, Sean Callanan.
Yes, I'm Sean Callanan from Sports Geek, and you're listening to Q&A. Remember, you can get in touch these ways. Send in your questions. You can send them in via Twitter at Sean Callanan. You can send them in via Facebook, Sean Callanan Speaks. At Sean Callanan on Instagram. You can use email, sean@sportsgeekhq.com. You can message me in the Sports Geek Nation Slack at Sean Callanan. Please send in your questions. As always, don't forget you can support our podcasting and newsletter efforts via Patreon. Go to sportsgeekhq.com/Patreon. Let's get into it. Question 1 comes from Lewis Mitchell via LinkedIn. How important is it for sports to address sustainability? I love this. Big questions for the Q&A. I think it is very important, and not only for the massive reason of the environment and having a future world that's livable. There's also massive reasons, both financially and also what the fans actually want. Someone you should connect with is Aileen McCanaman. Apologies, Aileen. As someone who gets my name mispronounced, my apology. But she's very much a sports sustainability champion. I will link to Aileen in the show notes. But Lewis did link to Adidas doing Real Madrid jerseys from recycled materials. Adidas have also done the Adidas Parley from recyclable materials. I do think the reason that Adidas is doing these kind of things is it's what the market wants. They are looking for sustainable products. So there's a definite business decision behind it. And so that is normally a big motivator for sports. But I think there's a lot of the other pieces. One, yes, the fans want it and the customer wants it, but there actually is some really financial benefits too and savings for being sustainable. The Victoria Racing Club, where the Melbourne Cup is held, or was held last Tuesday when this gets published, has put in a lot of work in a sustainability point of view to a point of crushing their own glass, so they're shipping out more glass for recycling. Taking a lot of the food waste and creating fertilizer that's then used on the roses, solar paneling on top of all the new grandstand. And so even though it's a big outlay to roll out these projects initially, over time they provide massive savings. Sports sustainability is super important. I think more sports teams. I think it's going to start with stadiums and venues. They've got the biggest opportunity. So seeing things like no plastic straws, those kind of things, and starting to see that happen on scale. So thank you very much, Lewis, for your question and pointing out that Adidas Real Madrid jersey story. It's obvious that it is very front and center for Adidas. Or Adidas for the people in the US, that's how they go about saying it. Question 2 comes from Chase McCarthy, also via LinkedIn. These questions all came from the original post where I said, hey, send in your questions. So thank you very much, Chase. His question is, what are the most important aspects for a sports organisation or team when globalising their brand and business? So it's, again, a big question around how do you expand and globalise your brand. I guess my first point is all teams are now global. The internet has made that possible. Every team is global, whether a team is doing anything or not. Some of them are becoming global because of the strength of the league itself, and others are becoming global because they're doing specific outreach in particular regions. I think the football clubs of Europe are the benchmark. They're the ones that have pushed harder into new markets quicker, looking at things like different language strategies and strategies for different countries. One episode I do think you should go listen to is episode 168. If you go to sportsgeekhq.com/168, there you can listen to Andrew Collins from Mailman. who is based in China, and he is actually helping teams connect with the Chinese market and the Asian market. So, and doing that by understanding the local market and understanding the community is still vitally important, even in a global sense. So it's not a matter of simply just taking your logo and rolling out the same program and content that you do at home in your home market into another market and expect it to be consumed. It has to have that local feel and understanding of how sport is consumed in the local market. So I think they're a couple of the key things. I think if you're driving the content for a big sports org, you've got to realize that it is global. It might be great to be talking in a tone to your local fans that live within a certain radius of your stadium, but a lot of that content is getting consumed by a global audience. So understanding that, but then having a concerted effort for those local markets, I think is very vital. And that's what Andrew and the guys at Mailman do for a lot of teams in different markets outside their own home market. So I think it's understanding that local markets is vital. And the last question 3, actually comes from the post itself, where I posed with the NFL trophy at the NFL experience in Times Square when I was there in 2018. So I used that bright, shiny trophy to garner some questions. And I got this one from Vincent McCarty, again, via LinkedIn. He asked, the NFL experience Times Square did not last long, surprisingly, but I visited as well. Why do you think retail experience outlets like this failed? NBA and NHL stores downsized here, and here comes MLB's first retail store in New York City. First of all, thanks a lot, Vincent, for the question. It is a funny one because the NFL experience at Times Square is not the first, I guess, venture like this to have failed. We've in this market we've seen an AFL themed experience museum type of store, museums type of thing that has fallen over. I think part of it is that sport is the ultimate experience. We go there for these emotions, the ebbs and flows, the unscripted drama. And so when you go to a museum or an experience that's been designed for you to try to better understand that sport or take you back, it has a little bit of nostalgia to it, but it's not exactly the same. So I went to an NFL experience. I enjoyed it. I'm doing a shrugging shoulder motion at the moment, but it's not something I'm going to come back to again and again and again. So it is something that it's built for a tourist and for someone to understand the game, but they don't have the deep passion of the people who super love the game. So it's really hard to pitch that type of experience and get it right. One thing you might not know from a design of the NFL experience, it was actually designed by the guys behind Cirque du Soleil. So they know about experiences. They know how to create amazing experiences, but it is tough to replicate what that experience is for someone really new. Now, they had a great immersive experience at that thing where you went into a theater and you started and you had the clashing of jerseys and helmets and the sound, and then you were in a snow game and then bubbles came down. So it really did try to make you feel like you're part of the game. But again, is it something that you come back again and again and again is probably why I think they sometimes don't quite hit the mark. That's it for these questions. I'm doing my best to get out before 10 minutes because these episodes are also published on LinkedIn and IGTV on my account. So I want to keep it under 10 minutes. So thanks again for your questions. Thanks, Vincent. Thanks, Chase. Thanks, Lewis. I'd love your support on Patreon. You can go to sportsgeekhq.com/Patreon to pledge your monthly support. Until next episode, my name is Sean Callanan, and you've been listening to Sports Geek Q&A.
You can reach Sean Callanan via email at sean@sportsgeekhq.com. Find out more about SportsGeek's Digital to Dollars process at digitaltodollars.com.
Go to sportsgeekhq.com for more sports digital marketing resources.